Right on. Welcome, everybody. How are you? From everyone here in the Founder Institute community, we want to welcome you here to the FI Texas Showcase held on AirMeet. For many of you, it's probably your first time, so we'll talk a little bit about what to expect this evening. My name is Martinez. I'm the Managing Director for the Founder Institute here in Texas. Since 2017, the Founder Institute has helped over 65 founders launch enduring companies in the great state of Texas. And just this summer, we're excited to say that we've crossed the $1 million mark in pre-seed capital raised by those founders. You're going to meet a few of them tonight. But before we get into all that, I want to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, this is a highly interactive event. I want to hear from you. The rest of the people here in this virtual audience wants to hear from you. So light up that chat, ladies and gentlemen. Tell us where you're from. I want to know. We have people from all across the state. We have directors in Austin. We have directors in Dallas. We have directors in Houston and all of the greater region around Texas. All right, I already start seeing it. We have people from California. We got people from here in Austin. I'm coming from Austin, Texas as well. So this is AirMeet. And for many of you, give me 1 second. For many of you, this is probably your first time on AirMeet. And if you kind of skipped through that little tutorial before you came in, let me tell you how this works. So as you came in, you noticed there was a lounge with a bunch of tables. You have full capability to jump in any of those tables. Each of them are marked for one of our presenting founders this evening. We have 6, as well as a welcome lobby where you might have already met a few of those people and directors. And we also have 3 tables for our Austin, Houston, and Dallas leaders. So we're going to take a couple networking breaks between the first set of pitches and the second set of pitches so that you get a chance to talk to those founders and maybe meet some new people within the greater FI Texas network. There's also a speed networking function. So right above those tables, you'll have noticed, just click that button, start speed networking. You can do that again during the networking break, and you get to meet people one-on-one for just a little bit of time, about 3 minutes. So we encourage you to take advantage of these tools. This is really kind of the first time the FI Texas community has been using it, so let us know what you think about it. We're already having a good time with it. And welcome, again, from all of us here at FI Texas. We're honored to have you. And we're really honored to present 6 amazing founders tonight, 3 of which have made it through the program over the past years. We want to hear some updates from them. We also have 3 new founders that just completed our Houston cohort, the 3rd cohort we've hosted in Houston. So a little bit about FI in the state of Texas. So as I mentioned, we started here in Austin, Texas back in 2017. And in 2019, we opened up our first sister chapter in the Lone Star State with the great team based out of Houston. So thank you to that team that has been such a steadfast core group of people that have gotten us the success that we've already seen in the Space City or the Bayou City. They have a lot of nicknames in Houston. I love that. But just recently, we just announced we're going to the Dallas Metroplex. So I can't wait for you to meet some of the team leads that are running that program. Again, please connect with all of them. If it's your first time here or the quadrillionth FI event you've been a part of, we want you in this community, and we can't wait to invite you for future events. So some quick updates outside of that. We're really excited about what 2020 is. If I'm being honest, look at me. I'm coming to you live from my bedroom studio / little garden. So this is not the most ideal way to do these things. And we've been, just like everyone else, going through the motions, adjusting to the new normal, but also taking advantage of some of the tools that are at disposal, still facilitate these things. Tell us about some of the events that you've been to. Maybe tell us about some of the startups that you're excited about seeing tonight. Light up that chat, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see that interaction, okay? You can DM each other too. Just be polite and nice. It's a good old Texas way. So looking to 2021, it's very likely we'll continue on this path for virtual for at least the first half of the year. We're really excited to see the progress going on, solving this problem that's going with COVID-19. Again, we would love to do this in person. We will again, and hopefully sooner than we can all expect. And when we do, it's going to be the biggest Texas showcase you've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that. So for 2021, applications right now are open for the Houston cohort and the Dallas cohort. So if you are involved or you're looking to start the next big thing in Texas, in North Texas, or in the Gulf region, each of those chapters are open for applications. The cohorts will start in the first quarter of 2021. We're still in the middle of our Austin cohort. We'll be graduating them. It's our 6th cohort in Austin in February of 2021. So stay tuned for news on that virtual showcase. Very likely it'll be in here. And if you like this tool, let us know, because we definitely love to experiment. We are in a world of virtual events right now. No one's getting it right, but I think we're at least trying and getting in the right direction. So let us know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. But that's going to be really it from me today. I'm honored to have such great leaders in Austin, Dallas, and Houston that are really lighting the way for entrepreneurs to date. And that progress cannot be made without them. So in honor of celebrating the 3rd cohort out of Houston, we've addressed a couple opening remarks on behalf of that that leadership team. And I want to thank, personally, each of our local leaders in Houston for getting through the first full-blown virtual cohort. James Phelan, Wilby Afori, Natasha Gorodetsky, and Tabby Signs. So let's hear from them. They made a few opening remarks just to kind of tell you a little bit about what they're doing, what they've been up to, what they learned throughout all of this, and some positive remarks moving forward as we look to the year ahead. So without further ado, let's hear from Houston.
My name is James Phelan. I'm the Managing Director of FI Houston. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome as we celebrate 2020 grads throughout Texas, here in Houston, as well as in Austin. And we're looking forward soon to having new grads in the greater Dallas area. And we're also excited to catch up with a few of our grads that may be from 2017, 2018, and 2019. So many of us are familiar with the difficulty of the FI program. It's hard, and we know it. But what it does is it prepares so many founders to achieve greatness, to really, really get through it, and gives them that foundation, that's rock solid foundation that they need to get started on their entrepreneurial journey. And this year, 2020, I mean, come on, it's even harder. And this year we've had some amazing graduates that have really persevered, they've stuck through it, and they have the grit, the determination, and everything it takes to become fantastic founders. So we are happy to showcase some of those founders with you here today. They have incredible, diverse companies. I mean, they are not all tech companies. We have some CPG folks. We have a lot of different things. It's really interesting. And, well, that's the Texas landscape. It's interesting. And the nation and the world are starting to realize that. So these founders have worked so hard. And it shows. So well done to you all, and way to go. So I can't tell you how proud I am to be a local leader here in Houston and to play, some role in their success, of the founders and in their companies. And I always look forward to celebrating their achievements as they grow and, become bigger. So a little bit about me. I'm a serial founder. I've launched 4 companies in about a decade, and I've had 1 exit. I have 2 that are still ongoing, and then I also have advised for, several dozen others over the last 8 years. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm always willing to pass along useful nuggets, things that could be helpful to our founders here in the program and others that I advise. It's fulfilling, and I honestly love doing it. So, in conclusion, thanks again for joining us here today, and please join me in giving a healthy round of applause to these founders who have worked really hard.
Founder Institute Texas family, it's a good day to be an entrepreneur. Listen, a special shout out to our graduating Houston Fall 2020 COVID cohort, Matt, Gita, David, Maria. Once again, congratulations. You guys have proven yourselves to be really lucky. Remember my definition of luck, the intersection of opportunity, preparedness, and perseverance. So you've taken the opportunity to prepare yourselves in an environment that demands perseverance. But this goes to the heart of entrepreneurship. And because you guys are coming through such a challenging time, I believe that you are better positioned than most for success. So once again, congratulations. I am looking forward to seeing what you're able to accomplish in your businesses. And I am looking forward to seeing you around our ecosystem. So go forth, build strong, and prosper.
Hi, I'm Natasha Gorodetsky, and I'm a director of FI Houston. I'm really happy to see this graduating group of wonderful founders who worked really hard and were determined and passionate about their products and worked during this really unusual, very strange time. Not only everything was online, you could also not see your group, you could not really meet us in person, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But uncertainty is a big part of entrepreneurship. And I believe that because you were so determined and resilient, that's why you are here today. This group and this time of the year and time of life really taught me personally a lot that communicating well with the founders, with my peers, with the whole Texas group is a really big key to success. For all the members of FI, founders, mentors, and directors, I believe that the communication is the key. Know how to talk to mentors, how to get help, how to communicate with your market and with your target audience is also part of the successful, and one of the biggest parts actually of the successful product and successful launch. My wishes to you is to continue taking advantage of us, test your products, validate with your market, and keep pushing it forward. And I can't wait to see you succeed, read about you, and know how far you went. All the best.
Wow. Thank you, Houston team. Again, we wouldn't be anything in the Bayou City without you guys. So thank you all one more time from not just me, from everybody at the FI Texas family. So we're getting into the main event, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I want to hear from you in all of this chat. Light up that chat. Let's hear it for our local leaders that pushed through and persevered throughout this entire year. And I can't wait for 2020 to be over myself. Before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear some pitches. And I'm excited for these first three. Some came from the very beginning of the program when we started in Texas. Others were a part of the inaugural chapter in Houston. And even though they've been out of the program for a while, once you're in the FI Texas family, you're always in for life. So we want to hear from them. They've seen some great success. They've seen tremendous progress and traction. So we wanted to celebrate that and also give you an example of what happens when you begin your entrepreneurial journey with the Founder Institute. So let's begin. We have three great pitches. We're going to listen to those first, do some live Q&A. So we want to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. If you have questions, throw them in the chat because we're going to have some live Q&A with those founders immediately after you listen to those pitches. The first one up, I'm really excited about. Longtime friend, brilliant founder, incredible drive, and with an exciting mission that is set to change how we think of the workforce and gender parity. So without further ado, let's hear it in the chat for Ashley Connell, founder and CEO of Prowess.
Hi, I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess. The workforce is broken for women and employers. 43% of women leave the workforce to raise their families with no clear path to return. And as a result, we're seeing a lack of gender diversity in leadership. And for Fortune 500 companies alone, this is costing them $150 billion a year in profit. In COVID-19, it's making this worse. 30% of working mothers are looking to leave the workforce because of lack of childcare. And in just September, almost 900,000 of them did. Traditional work, it's just not cutting it, leaving a massive opportunity for Prowess. Prowess helps companies boost productivity by leveraging the untapped talent of women leaving the workforce and who are hungry to return. We are the only solution that vets, certifies, and matches these women up with jobs based on not only their skill and expertise, but behavior style compatibility and value alignment. Today, we have a live talent marketplace that's driven by an emotional intelligence-based algorithm. But where the real power lies is in our community of female job seekers. We provide one place for upskilling, confidence training, a network, and access to flexible, female-friendly jobs. And it's working. Our revenue is growing 100% year over year, and just last month we closed 6 new deals. And due to all that traction, we're getting noticed by Forbes, South by, and many, many more. And we are the team to do it. So I had the passion, Leah made it happen, and David tackles the tech. So I wanted to solve my future problem with creating Prowess and how I was going to have children and a career. I have 15 plus years of B2B tech marketing experience where I helped to build the largest community of IT professionals in the world, reaching multi-million. And I know I can do it again, especially about something that I care so deeply about. And Leah, our COO, she is an inspiration for Prowess as a returner herself. She has her master's in psychology and 20 plus years of sales and operations experience. She is the person to grow and scale Prowess. And lastly, David, our CTO. He watched for years as his wife faced bias in the workplace that he didn't have to. As a former CEO, CTO, and now angel investor, has had 2 exits and joined Prowess because he says his last bite of the apple, he wants to be with a company that is making the world a better place. So how are we going to do that? We're looking for $1 million for 18 months of financing. With that, we'll be able to place 1,000 women and reach $4 million in revenue. That investment will first go towards marketing, then deepening our technology, and lastly, operations to bring it all together. Because the time is now to help working women before it's too late. I hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Joining us here live is the founder and CEO of Prowess, Ashley Connell. Ashley, how are you?
Hello. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, Wednesday on the down end.
I don't even know what day it is anymore. If I'm being honest. Yeah, Blur's Day. I don't know who came up with that, but I still happy Blur's Day, everyone. 2020. But again, it's almost done. We're almost there. But you know, jokes aside, you shared something kind of concerning in opening remarks with this pitch that you just shared with us. A tremendous amount of women have left the workforce. Where is that coming from? Can you tell us any more about that?
So when you ask where that's coming from, with COVID, what we saw was a ton of schools just shut down due to safety reasons. Well, when that happened, not only schools, but also daycares did the same. Of the 2-person household, typically, it was oftentimes the women who will take a step back and say, hey, we can't possibly both be working and take care of our children. I'll take a step back. And so it's really scary. We're seeing 30% of women who are looking to leave the workforce right now due to COVID. And I just fear that we're going to lose a full generation of these female leaders who are really hungry to make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, before we start getting into some of these questions from the audience, keep sharing them, ladies and gentlemen. Where'd this idea come from? What's before you found FI? Where did this kind of be incepted?
Yeah, from my own anxiety, which I guess is my best friend and worst enemy. Quite frankly, I was nervous. I spent my first 15 years married to my career. I dropped everything, moved across the world for it. I came back for it. I lived out of a suitcase for a year. And so I was very dedicated, and I was worried how I was going to have children too. And then I found that statistic, according to Harvard Business Review, if a woman is out of the workforce for just 3 years, she loses almost 40% of her total compensation power forever and cannot get it back. So with Prowess, what we're trying to do is get women back into the workforce quicker so they have less of a gap.
Outstanding. Again, thank you again. This is a great mission. Again, of course, I can talk about it all day and champion you all, but let's take some questions from the audience.
Yeah.
So Luis, founder of Governance Chain, is wondering, what sets you apart from something like if employers just wanted to go to Indeed and put filters looking for remote work, partial work, what's the secret sauce you got going on over there?
Love this question. So especially now when you go to Indeed, when there is a ton of talent and not as many employers, when we're talking to hiring managers, they'll put something up on Indeed and get thousands of resumes within seconds. And the problem that happens then is someone has to go and search through all those resumes. Well, typically hiring managers get through 30% of those. What Prowess does is we help companies, and when they come to us and say, hey, I'm looking for this, we look at their skills, we look at the existing team, all of their behavior styles, communication styles, and learning styles, put all of that information into our algorithm, and then offer the employer 3 different candidates, each with a compatibility score. So Susie may be 99% compatible with your team and the role that you're looking to fill. Emily may be 92, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Well, I guess what leads into a good question coming out of Kevin over at GSV Ventures is kind of elaborating a little bit more on that business model without giving too much. How do you work with employers? Is it just a per hire basis, or do you work on an annual?
Good question. So today, the way that it works is we have 2 options with employers. They can either hire direct, where it's very similar to a recruiting company where we get 20% of the first year salary, or what we're seeing is very popular now are people coming to us wanting fractional work. The 2 main groups of companies that we have seen a ton of outreach from to us are consulting companies and tech startups. Reason being is they want very high expertise that they don't have to train at all and will come in and hit the ground running. So their options are, hey, I can pay for a full-time newbie, someone who's green, or I can have someone maybe 20, 30 hours a week who has done all of this before and will be very efficient and effective. So they come to Prowess. They essentially buy a bucket of hours per month, and we take a percentage and give the rest to the talent.
Gotcha. I think you answered like 4 questions all at once with that answer too. We like being efficient here in FI. We're going to do one more question before we move on to our next founder. And again, thank you for your time. It's always good having you here. Any particular industries you're looking to get to target moving forward, especially after you get through this next fundraise? Anything else outside of the current customers you already have?
So as far as the current customers, yes, like I said, consulting, tech startups are key. Where we also see a massive opportunity is more and more larger tech companies are giving very generous parental leaves. So we feel like that one way that Prowess can get into these massive corporations is to help solve that parental coverage gap when someone is out for 6, 9, 12 months with their new child. We just did a survey and it shows that 70% of people who take parental leave are stressed during the process, before the process, and after the parental leave process because they have very little resources. And we think that we can do that to support them.
Awesome.
And the team.
Great. Okay, fantastic. Again, we're looking forward to seeing what the year ahead has. It looks like, even throughout this crisis, you found ways to continually grow. Congratulations on all the new customers this month. That's really
Thanks.
That's traction right there, ladies and gentlemen. Textbook definition. But if you have more questions for Ashley Connell, please head on over to the Prowess table here at the networking break coming up a little soon. So thank you again, Ashley. Always a joy. And we'll talk to you here soon.
Awesome. Y'all, thank you so much for having me. And huge shout out to FI. Prowess would not exist without them. So thank you.
Oh, shucks. Thank you, Ashley. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's our first pitch of the evening. We're going to move on to our next founder. Founder that actually came out of our very first cohort in Texas. Feels so long ago already in COVID years, might as well be 2 decades. But I'm excited to introduce someone who's excelled incredibly, accelerated, if we're being on the dot. Mr. Riley Knox, founder and CEO of Accelerate 3D.
Hi, My name is Riley Knox. I have a degree in mechanical engineering, and I'm the CEO of Accelerate 3D. For the past decade, a quiet revolution has been taking place in the world of manufacturing. 3D printing has finally made the shift from just prototyping to true mainstream manufacturing and is being adopted by companies in almost every industry. 2020 laid this to bear for all to see by showing the benefits of decentralized manufacturing using 3D printing to cover the weaknesses in current supply chains. Right now is the perfect time for 3D printing to take its place as a cornerstone of the future of manufacturing. And at Accelerate 3D, we are using high-speed 3D printing to build the future of on-demand manufacturing for large-size polymer parts. Case in point, here's a paid pilot job we did with companies Remove and Agility. These two companies teamed up to create an autonomous UVC cleaning robot and needed to have the frame for their large-size robot built quickly and cost-effectively, which is exactly what we were able to do using our patent-pending new 3D printer. Companies like these are exactly who we see as our ideal customers for near-term growth and expansion. New, high-tech hardware companies producing things like robots, delivery drones, electric aircraft, and urban mobility vehicles are a perfect fit for large-size 3D printing. Now, let me make something very clear, though. Accelerate 3D is a 3D printing service provider. We're not selling machines, even though we are developing our own hardware to use in-house. The 3D printed parts industry has been exploding over the past decade and is expected to grow at over 24% per year for the next decade. This growth led to the production of 3D printed polymer parts being a $6 billion industry in 2019, 800 million of which we believe to be directly addressable by large-size 3D printing, and this segment should grow just as fast. Based on our current estimations, each one of our machines should generate about $150,000 per year in revenue and should pay for itself in about 4 to 5 months. This is how we take this to scale, by adding more printers as more companies adopt 3D printing. In the future, we also plan to build regional microfactories to print parts closer to our customers to help cut down on the high shipping costs for these large-size parts. We already have a partnership agreement with Veritax, one of our fellow Techstars companies, and we're in talks with Agility to set up the same with them to provide large-size 3D printing services in the future. With a team of just 3, we have mechanical engineering, physics, material science, polymers, and senior-level software engineering all covered. We're currently raising a $500,000 pre-seed round to set up our first facilities, finish building our service-ready printers, and to start generating solid revenue in preparation for a full seed round late next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Riley. Joining us live is Mr. Riley Knox of Accelerate 3D. Riley, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah,
Good day.
That presentation just blew me away. I didn't realize you could put animated stuff in PowerPoints, but what do I know? So
Yeah.
Tell me more about that project. That was really cool. I know this wasn't in real time, but that seemed tremendously faster than what we've probably seen on the market. You know, what was that like?
Yeah, so that was a really cool project that they were doing and they got, because of what we were able to do, we printed all of their stuff, even with having to do some testing and stuff like that to determine if their geometries would work, got it all done in about a week. And it meant that they were able to go from just their actual like designs in a computer to having the parts made, shipped to them, and then building it in the matter of, I think, 3, maybe 4 weeks. And those two companies actually got recognized for the work and the capabilities they did with that robot.
Wow. So a lot of the connections and a lot of the community. I mean, we started with FI, but you actually moved on to Techstars as well. It's a very common thing for founders that get out of FI to move on to, a venture-backed accelerator like that. Tell us about that experience.
Techstars was awesome. This was back in the before times when we could actually meet in person and do everything. So we were up in Connecticut, partnered with, it was the Techstars program that was partnered with Stanley Black & Decker. And it was all additive manufacturing and then a bit of sustainable packaging. And it was fantastic being around a whole bunch of other people building like hard tech, real hardware, stuff like that. And got to meet just some of the most fantastic people in that industry too.
Interesting. So you already got a good swath knowledge of the industry at large. I'm sure working with so many founders in the 3D printing space gives you just that much more of an advantage, a leg ahead. So let me jump into some questions from the audience, because we're actually going to get some good technical ones. So Nathan Heat, co-founder of Cultivate, is asking, how are you going to be able to compete price-wise against these standard mold emulsion type producers?
So that all comes down to the amount of parts you're actually producing, the size of the parts, and the complexity. Because with standard molding, you run into limitations of the geometries and what you can actually mold as far as drafts and stuff like that. And then you run into the issues of how much do you need to produce to get a return on the tooling. That's the nice thing about 3D printing, is every single part costs almost the same amount, whether you're doing 1 or 100, whereas with standard molding techniques, that first part to come out of it could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, because that's how much you had to spend to actually make the molds. And then every single one of after that gets cheaper and cheaper. So long story short, it depends. Our focus is on those kind of small to medium size runs, larger size, complex parts to where it would be hard to manufacture, to where you'd maybe have to break things up into smaller pieces and then have to assemble things afterwards. That's the beauty part about 3D printing, is you can combine sometimes up to dozens of parts into one single entity that all gets made at one time, and then you don't have to worry about all of those other manual or post-processing steps.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about, kind of their customer type. You mentioned a little bit in the presentation, but, are you looking at other industries outside of just the immediate ones you've already been working with?
Yeah, so we've had talks with architecture firms to print designs like that. We've had talks with, we actually were talking to a bus company yesterday, which again falls in that EV category, drone company today. And then there are interesting ones to where you're, what's some of the other ones? We've had people wanting to do furniture and things along that nature, which we thought was kind of interesting, to even like research equipment, like mazes and things like that.
Got it. So one thing you mentioned too, which is pretty interesting, and I'd love to see if you could explain a little bit more about your perspectives on this, but fulfillment is something that's an issue with regards to getting a 3D printed prototype from A to B. So tell us a little bit more about kind of this fulfillment mission that you have in mind.
Yeah, so our kind of whole plan of how the process works, and I'm assuming you're talking about like the actual, like the way that it kind of all gets done and runs through the process. Yeah, ultimately, like we've got our CTOs building out an entire backend. That is one of the kind of the issues is this process of getting rid of as much friction in actually getting these made. So our ultimate plan is to having things like as automated on the back end side, have these facilities as close to customers as possible, and then getting integrated into their design and actual procurement software, so that from the customer side, we're just another link in their supply chain. So when they need something, it's not like having to go out and do one-off quotes and everything. Ultimately, we'd like to really get set up with companies to act as essentially a digital warehouse, to where we would have their parts on file that we've already either produced or helped them design and optimize for 3D printing. And we would just be part of their procurement system, that if they have something break or need a replacement or need a new one of something, they just hit a button, it gets printed out, automatically happens on the back end. So our systems and our process are very automated and streamlined, and then it will just get printed out, show up in a few days.
Fantastic. Right on, Riley. I don't know if we have any more questions, but if you do, don't be shy, ladies and gentlemen. Drop them in the chat. Riley can reply back to you. And of course, coming up here in a little bit, you can chat with him directly over at the Accelerate 3D table. So thank you again, Riley. Always a pleasure having you. It's good to see you again, my friend. I'm sure I'll see you again soon. Any final words for our community before we move on to the next?
No, I'm sure I should probably come up with something clever to say, but that was fun, and thanks for having me on.
Right on. Can't wait to see you again and hearing the good news after you get through this raise. So if you're interested in speaking with Riley, head on over to the Accelerate 3D table and talk to him directly. So thank you, Riley.
Thanks.
So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, our final pitch of the first flight of founders comes out of Houston. One of our very first inaugural cohort that started in 2019. She's in the gaming industry, building an amazing product right now. It's going to help people create games faster. So I'm excited to just get right into it. ladies and gentlemen, please warm welcome in the chat, light up, and share us with those questions. Founder CEO of Cinevva, Miss Mariana Montin.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariana Montin and I'm the CEO of Cinevva. We're building a platform for everyone to make video games and interactive content without technical skills and the power of AI. Juggling too many tools, constant frustration, and lack of experience leave 80% of the developers out of a growing $159 billion gaming industry. So Vue is changing that, helping millions of others to start and complete a personal video game following a proven roadmap that leverages on existing resources out there. So you imagine you want to make a game to educate people about growing finances. You start on VO timelines. It understands that you created a 2D game with a run or jump kind of simple mechanic. Then it surfaces the right resources when you need it and how you need it. It scans market data based on sales, downloads, and art styles, and it offers suggestions on how to improve it. Gaming is the future. Everyone will want to use VO as SaaS or as an API for any content or web page. One of this year's growth drivers of 13.3% is the increased interest in gaming due to COVID. We have our first test users, and we have established connections with top gaming track universities. We offer our business model as freemium to monthly subscriptions, and it will generate $304 million EBIT by year 5 from product launch, which represents 400 times the investments with over 1 million subscribers. Our team has decades of experience in video game development, advertising games, as well as software development, including building AI architectures for state-of-the-art platforms. Oleg has successfully exited previous startups, and I have over 15 years experience in building mobile games content. Please support us and invest in building video games with the power of AI. It's a unique service product. We are raising $750,000 in seed funding to cover our expenses for 16 months to launch some of the state-of-the-art AI gaming features.
Thank you, Mariana. Joining us live right now is CEO of Cinevva, Mariana. Let's see if we can get her in the room. I don't know where she's hiding, but I'm excited. That was a pretty fun one. Again, these have all been great pitches, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm excited for you to meet her. Make sure you get your questions in the chat. And joining us live right now, CEO of Cinevva, Mariana, how are you today?
Pretty good. I'm stoked to be here. Thank you so much for the warm invite, and sorry for the delays.
Hey, don't worry about it. It's 2020. You know, I'm talking to you in a big 16:9 box. You know, I can't get out of this place. I'm just stuck in this box, so it's all good. So we saw a lot of stuff right there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions coming in, but I want to know kind of how things are going right now. Just between you and me, we've had some conversations, and you've had a lot of progress, and there's been some really cool updates. You mind sharing those with the community right here?
Sure. This was definitely a challenging year for everybody, and we had this amazing idea to join in the summer Mozilla Builders, and joining the Mozilla Builders has allowed us to also lower the barriers of advancing into video game development, which is a really difficult and complex industry under the mission of Fix the Net. So over 250 companies and startups have joined in the Open Lab Incubator, and we got selected after 2 months and a half to be one of the Builders Award winners, which was just announced a couple of weeks ago. So that was a great event. They understood the necessity of lowering the barriers of access to everyone. And the majority of the builders wanted to include the gamification and the game aspects and the mechanics that we're using in building.
Wow. So again, response has been tremendous so far. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the partnerships that are already starting to form, if that's okay to share publicly?
Oh yeah, no worries. I can talk generally speaking. So some of the partners, we come from Mozilla that built some AI little features that will simplify animations. For example, the camera tracking you will be looking at, and then that will capture the animations and that will apply to your characters. Some other features will be brushing your levels, like you use a brush and you design that level without overthinking how to do it and without learning the big boy or the complex engines like Unity or Unreal.
Gotcha. So you already touched a little bit on it, and Andy, developer for CodeMave, had a question to that effect. So great segue. So tell us a little bit more about that differentiation. You said it was easier, but can you elaborate some more?
So how Veo is going to work, and it works right now already. We're just launching and releasing. So this is very typical for a software business. Is we're going to act as an overlay on top of existing tools. So right now the market is split in Unity, Unreal, and other smaller gaming engines. We will be allowing people to build the games, build the content for the games, for interactive content such as visual novels. And some of them can be used for simulations, for training, for virtual reality and AR. And then we'll package and we'll bridge those with controlling Unity and Unreal both, no matter the platform, or so it's engine agnostic and it's cross-platform, which is the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So again, it makes sense that you're having these conversations with those, and so not a lot of. Really, it's interesting to see. So, let's talk a little bit about what you see for the future for this. I mean, y'all are already out in the market. It seems like you're already starting to develop the ecosystem of partners that are going to get you to the next level. Where do you see this going? Is it going to stay in gaming? Can it go elsewhere?
So the beauty of Veo is the versatility. Just today, I met a person that comes from a corporate background and asked us to revise and review applying Veo for enterprise solutions. In our roadmap, we're thinking about this later on next year, but we are thinking about this right now because we can take the same integrations and apply for any corporate gas and oil training or military event simulations. So anything that we use the same kind of complexes and processes, be that PC, be that traditional PC gaming or simulation or VR or AR. It all matters how you compile and how you package that, which we are going to be the experts of.
Absolutely. I like that. I love that. So Natasha out of Houston has a question. Can your tool be used for other software that might want to utilize some kind of gaming features? I guess you mentioned it lightly, but could you dive in a little bit more?
So we kind of covered that, and we looking at people, small teams that are looking into making 1, 2, 3, maybe mobile or PC games that have a bit of experience in looking in automation. But we will be diversifying and integrating more features and software for sure, because once we tackle Unity, and that's a huge beast, we can tackle anything. And we already have Unity integrated.
Awesome. So it looks like we're at about a little bit. We still have one little bit of time before we head into the next phase of programming for the evening. Again, thank you all for joining us here, and thank you to Mariana for being a part of it.
Thank you for having me.
Any final thoughts that you want to share? Anything? Any big calls? I know you're in the middle of fundraising, but any calls to the community that's with us this afternoon that might be able to help you get to that next level when they meet you over at the tables here coming up soon?
Sure. Well, thank you for the support. First of all, thank you for the mentors here. I would also wanted to state that we wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for a Founders Institute, for sure. I wanted to invite everyone to address all the questions about how to be effective in creative journeys without overthinking about the tech complexities. I can answer those questions. And yeah, just subscribe for our private beta that we're going to release at the end of the year.
Awesome. So so thank you again, Mariana. This has been awesome. I love talking to my founders. I wish that's all I could do all day, but we got other things to do. Again, I'm just confined in this little box. So can't wait to get out of it. So thank you again. We'll catch you over at the tables here coming up soon. So that means we're out of that first round, the first session, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And y'all have been a great crowd so far. Y'all are lighting up that chat just like I want to see. But welcome again. If you are just joining us, or if you already heard me say it again, I'm going to say it again. Welcome to the Texas Founders Showcase. My name is Martinez. I'm the Managing Director for FI across the state of Texas. I'm joined right here by our lead director over in Houston, Mr. James Phelan. James, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. How's the event been so far for you?
Well, you know what? I know you've been sort of trapped backstage, but I got to bounce around and go visit some of the tables. People are having interesting conversations. Did a little bit of the speed networking. That was a lot of fun. It's interesting getting to know this platform and to see some familiar faces and meet new ones.
Awesome. So audience, again, You still have fingers. Write them all in the chat. Tell us what you thought about the networking. If there's anybody cool that you still yet to meet, drop your LinkedIn in there too. But let's get started. So now I'm going to disappear, and I'm going to stay backstage for the rest of this next block of programming, where you're going to meet the incoming cohort out of Houston. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to my friend here, James, and he's going to steer the ship for the rest of the evening. All right?
And here we go. All right, y'all. So we're going to talk to and meet some of our recent graduates. They just wrapped. They did an entire online cohort. It was really, really good. I mean, it was what we ended up with were 4 amazing companies, all of which have super dedicated, absolutely gritty, fantastic founders. So the first founder who I look forward to teeing up, and I know Martinez helping me in the back, is Maria. And I hope that you enjoy her pitch as much as we have all cohort.
My name is Maria, and I'm the founder of Trendy Seconds, the Google Shopping for secondhand fashion. This pandemic affected everything. So at this point, hopefully we understand that we need to be more conscious at every step of the way. And this includes our shopping habits. Did you know, for example, that it takes 700 gallons of water to make one new t-shirt? And despite this, over 60% of the new manufactured clothes for this country every year end up in a landfill. When I knew this, I needed to do some changes, and I started considering buying second-hand clothes. So when I went online to do this, I realized that this category is a time-consuming treasure hunt, because you have to go literally through thousands of items at sites like ThredUp to find things you really like. So after a lot of wasted time, I ended up being frustrated and did not buy anything because of this. But now I actually know that this is a very common problem, because over 90% of millennial women spend on average 1 hour browsing while online shopping. But 60% of them don't actually buy anything at that point because they have too many choices. This is exactly the reason why I started 20 Seconds, to help women like me easily find good quality secondhand clothes online. This website searches through different secondhand marketplaces at once, but only brings you a curated recommendation of items based on your preferences, allowing you to mix and match different items, get recommendations to complete your look, and pay for everything in one transaction. So instead of going to eBay and look for a t-shirt and then repeat the whole process on Poshmark to find a skirt, you can come to 20 Seconds and find it all. To make money, we'll collect a commission from these marketplaces by affiliating to their marketing programs. And from the shopper, we'll collect a fee either per transaction or per year. The secondhand clothing space in the US is on track to reach over $60 billion in the next 4 years. And more interesting, the online segment is growing at a much faster pace than retail and traditional secondhand offline combined. Our specific target is worth $1.3 billion for next year and is expected to grow 200% till 2024. To calculate our share of market, we are running an A/B testing and price with Google Ads to understand what is it that these potential clients are willing to pay for the service. There's a lot of marketplaces online where you can go and find secondhand clothes, but until now, there's still the need for aggregation. So 20 Seconds will be in the middle of them, not just aggregating, but also curating and styling the products. Our next step is prototyping, and we are currently looking for a fashion stylist. I am ready to leverage my previous experience to help women save time, money, and the...
And Maria, turn on your camera and join us for some Q&A. There she is. Hey. So congratulations on completing FI Houston. Well done.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, really, really good. Everybody, she came to us about 16 weeks ago with an idea. And in those 16 weeks, she incorporated, she perfected her messaging, and now I think she feels pretty confident about the business that she's building. I mean, she's got the it, if you know what I mean. So if anybody has any questions, we'll be using the chat. But in the meantime, Maria, as you're moving forward, what is the first thing that you're looking to do to get your business now, moving forward?
So as I said, my next step is prototyping to get feedback. So I'm building the user experience first, and then I'm going to the back office. So roadmap is prototyping, feedback, and then MVP. And things are moving very quickly. So I'm expecting actually to have my prototyping at the end of this year, and then on the first quarter of next year, the MVP. Because actually I already have the person that I want to come as the CTO. So he's going to be on board fairly soon, hopefully.
That's awesome. Well done.
Thanks.
All right. So we have a first question, which is, are you planning to develop an app or rather stay as a website?
So that's a very good question. We know that most of the buying now is done via mobile. But, if you start with an app, you have to basically fight for share of screen. And when you're not known in the market, so that's a very high road. So we are starting to build a mobile responsive website as a first step. And once we get traction, then on a second phase, we are building an app, but as a complement to the website, and not just the same thing. So it'll have another cool features, more like gaming and stuff like that.
Terrific. Now, I know that you're looking at the aggregator part of your business. Walk us through a little bit more about, how it works, but what it does for your customers. Like, walk us through that experience a little bit.
So yes, what happens now in the secondhand market online is that the good news is that we have many choices because there's a lot of reselling going on. But the hard part is to find things you like. So you have to spend a lot of time browsing. And most likely, you're not going to buy anything on the first time because you're not sure if you're making the right choice because you want to compare and see other sites. So what I want to do is save people time and actually curating what they are going to have as results. So even though you might have 5,000 hits, which is what happens today. If you're going to one of these websites, like ThreadUp, for example, you have 5,000 different dresses of your size and your specific filters. That's too much. So no one is going to see that. No one is having the time to do that browsing. So I want to understand the customer first and then curate the pieces. So I'm not going to have, even though I'm aggregating, I'm not going to have every piece on my website. And I'm going to show the results according to the preferences of each person. So the personalization is a big part of my project as well as the customer experience. So I'm taking out all of the hassle of the second-hand shopping. At least that's what we are trying to build.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, market segmentation is so important. And I know that you, of all people, know how to get that done. So that's awesome. Okay, we have one more question from Aaron. In the future, do you envision users to be able to sell or trade their clothes to contribute to the thrift economy on your platform?
So actually, of course, the ideal model is a circular model, right? So I will have on my platform the different ways that people can sell their clothes. So at this point, I don't envision having, at least not my own inventory, but I do want to let people know, okay, I want to sell my clothes. What are the options out there? Because there's several of them. There's peer-to-peer, and there's actually sites where you can send your bag of clothes and they will resell it for you. So I do want to have that service for the people, but I'm not carrying the inventory at my site, at least at this point, but who knows?
Right. I mean, how could you? All right. And then we have one last question. Walk us through your A/B testing. I'm curious to understand how you did this and what did you learn?
Yeah, so I did an A/B testing with 3 different landing pages and 3 different price points. So what I was testing there, it was the number of signers on each landing page to understand which price point resonated the most with the potential customer. So I'm running this with Google Ads, just like another campaign, several, same cities, as much as the same structure in terms of keywords and all of that. And I actually have already a clear winner. So I got subscribers on the 3 different price points, which was a surprise for me. So I learned that the sooner you test your idea, the better. And now I know that I do have an audience. I do have the need for the service. And now I actually reach out to them and ask did a service special for them, and them got back to me, which is very nice as well. So it's a very transparent process of building something for the actual customer and having them on board on your journey.
That's a great process, very thorough. So well done, Maria. Well, thank you. And thank you for pitching. Thank you for contributing. And again, congratulations. You did it.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks.
So I know we have our next up is going to be, there it is going to be Matt. And Matt has a very different kind of company for all of us. And so I'm looking forward.
Hi, my name is Matt McKinsey, founder of GasCap. In my commodity markets career, I've seen firsthand how volatile gasoline and diesel prices can be. Now, bigger companies with heavy fuel bills, such as UPS, have access to risk management tools they can use to protect themselves. But most smaller companies, including nearly all small and mid-sized truck fleets, don't. This leaves up to a third of their operating costs completely to chance. At the very least, it makes budgeting and planning more difficult. But in the worst case, it can lead to bankruptcy. GasCap helps solve this problem. We're a financial platform that lets smaller truck fleets stabilize their costs so they can better budget and plan for the future. If UPS can do it, why can't the rest of us? Here's how it works. After logging onto our mobile app or website, a customer selects a monthly period and volume of fuel. This period can be a month, a quarter, or up to a year. And for this period, GasCap offers the customer a retail price they can cap in exchange for a per gallon fee. Then after transacting with us, the customer fills up his tank and drives as normal. If at the end of the period, retail prices rise above the customer's cap level, then we rebate them the difference. And if prices fall during the period, then the customer enjoys the benefit of cheaper fuel. In either case, the customer benefits. To be absolutely clear, we're not selling physical fuel, and our product isn't tied to any particular gas station. Instead, with GasCap, drivers have complete freedom to fill up anywhere they like and still benefit from a cap price. On our end, after receiving the customer's fee, we use a portion of that fee and immediately purchase an offsetting hedge in the wholesale market. And we use the payoff from that hedge to rebate the customer in the event that prices rise. Now, in the event that prices don't rise, we don't rebate the customer, but in all cases, we always retain a portion of the customer fee, which goes towards our expenses. Ultimately, we think a number of major market groups can benefit from GasCap. But given the relatively high fuel expense that truckers face, we've decided to target the mid-sized fleet sector first. This accounts for about 11% of the US total and includes 23,000 firms that have an average fleet size of 40 trucks. It has an addressable market size of $3 billion, and we're targeting market share at the end of our second year of operations of 20 firms. Assuming average monthly fuel consumption per truck of 1,500 gallons and a per gallon fee of 15 cents, we think we can achieve monthly revenue at this point of $200,000. GasCap is in the pre-revenue stage right now. Our biggest value add will be another co-founder with strong business development experience, specifically with either enterprise or organizational selling skills, and who can help open up some strategic sales channels. Thank you.
All right, Matt, turn on that video. Let's see you. There you are.
How are you?
Nice pitch, man.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to congratulate you too. Well done, sir.
I appreciate it.
You did it.
It's a miracle, but here we are.
Hey, you did it. COVID graduate. I think that's like we're gonna see. You know, we're gonna have to make up some kind of new thing for those that have survived COVID and survived FI simultaneously.
Yeah, somebody up there likes us.
So Matt, first question I'm going to ask is, what is it that drove you to the idea behind GasCap?
Great question, James. So, like I said in my pitch, I've been in the I'm a commodity markets guy. I've got about 14 years of experience in the industry. And in my time there, I've noticed that although we were helping all sorts of different companies with commodity exposure, manage the price risk, and protect themselves against unforeseen events, we have one of the largest, it's an enormous market, which is the U.S. ground transportation market that's hardly served at all. This is $1 billion a day market. And it occurred to me at some point that there's no good reason why just about everybody else shouldn't have access to some of the same risk management tools that we're providing to our corporate customers.
Cool. And first outside question, what's next for you and GasCap now that you've graduated FI?
Well, thanks for the question, Aaron. We are rounding up our initial customers. We've got some really strong interest from some FedEx fleet owners, actually. I know in my pitch that I said we were initially targeting small and mid-sized truck fleets. But it turns out that FedEx fleet owners, and these are guys who might own anywhere from a few dozen to a couple of hundred different trucks and their location, they're really interested in working with us too. They don't know what their profitability is going to look like. They can't it's much more difficult to budget and plan for the future. And we think that if we can help them manage their expenses, they'll be really happy to work with us. So we're locking that down in place. I've got a couple of regulatory T's to cross and I's to dot, and then after that, we'll be ready to go.
Awesome, man. And then I see we have a question from Eric. How long do you anticipate it will take before you're operational?
Hopefully within the first quarter, Eric. Again, just to kind of assume, really the biggest roadblock right now is just some of those regulatory issues that I was just touching on. And this is my first foray into the entrepreneurial world, and it's my first foray into working with our fine regulators. So I don't have a great answer for that, but I anticipate being up and running within the first quarter.
Well, you bring up a really good point, though. So you're in your first entrepreneurial foray here, right? What was it that led you to leave regular commodities trading to then start GasCap?
I've had this idea in the back of my mind for a while, and been turning it over, but just between work and family, never really had the time to pursue this. And I left my most recent regular job back in February. And, the day that I left, I thought, this is my opportunity to pursue this. I want to be my own boss. I think that I can make a difference. I think that there's a market here. Now I just need to go out and prove it and execute.
Cool. And then we have another couple questions. There's one from Nathan. Have you thought about approaching the ag sector?
I have thought about approaching the ag sector first. Great question. I think like I said, there's a lot of potential market or customer groups that I think could benefit from this segment. Agriculture is definitely one of them. Oil field service is another. Small and local businesses with delivery fleets. There's a lot of different opportunities that we can pursue going forward.
And then Molly added, sort of riffing off that prior question, what about aviation?
Great question. I hadn't thought about that until just now. Now the airlines they're big enough that they're already being served by big banks, trade houses, that sort of thing. But smaller airlines, I think, were definitely worth a shot at least exploring that as a potential avenue.
Great. Well, Matt, again, congratulations, man. This is, I think you're going to really find it. I know that you have those T's to cross and I's to dot, but there's something to this, and it sounds like you have the experience and the wherewithal to do it. So
thank you, James. Really appreciate it. It's been a great experience.
Congratulations. So next up, we have our friend Gita, And Gita has some really interesting things to talk about, another very diverse company, and I can't wait for her to join me here on the screen. So here we go. Let's hear from Gita.
Hi, I am Gita Jairaman, founder of Spoon and Sprout, a chef with a plant-based nutrition certification. I also bring the experience of my snack product, plantain chips, under the Grab 'em Snacks brand to market, available at farmers market and online. Our focus is creating delicious, sustainable, and healthy foods. 25% of US consumers consider themselves flexitarians, and a growing number proportionately choose more plant-based foods. While plant-based foods offer obvious health benefits, soy and wheat have been identified as common allergens. Soy and derivatives are pervasive. Many food labels do not adequately list all ingredients and often are masked by uncommon names. More than 20 million Americans avoid soy due to health conditions such as thyroid malfunction and allergies. In addition, soy hinders absorption of any thyroid medication. Our product, tempeh, is a soy-free, plant-based fermented protein and is made with beans and grains, unlike most in the market. It is also gluten-free and minimally processed. With a broad appeal, our soy-free product will be the key differentiator. Tempeh can be sautéed, baked, or fried. Our main competitors, Tofurky and Lightlife, offer only soy-based tempeh and can be bitter, causing seasoning challenges. My tempeh gets around the allergen and seasoning obstacles. The global plant-based protein market in 2019 was $18.5 billion and is projected to be $35 billion by 2025. The numbers for tempeh are 3 and 4.8 billion for the same time period. Sampling and customer feedback show wide acceptance. Hence, our target will be broad while we highlight the soy-free as our key differentiator. Our product line will be available in 3 options: plain tempeh cake with ready-to-use spice blend plus recipe, and ready-to-eat meals. The phase 1 rollout will be at farmers markets, CSAs, and specialty grocery stores. Phase 2, meal kit delivery companies. Currently, they carry no tempeh options on their menus. Phase 3, distribution to large stores, additional product offerings, seasoned burger patties, frozen ready-to-eat meals, and tempeh chips. Our team comprises of myself, the founder and chef, Ramesh, the CTO, and Kiana Mickey, food equity and sustainability advisor. We are asking for connections to farmers markets, specialty stores, and finding a suitable production facility. Thank you.
All right, Gita, turn on that video and join me, my friend. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talk about making it happen. Gita, you and Ramesh made this happen. Well done.
Thank you.
So my first question to you is going to be about the you have a certain passion and a huge amount of experience in this area that I know you couldn't share in that pitch. Mm-hmm. So tell people a little bit about, why Gita? Why should you be the one that's going to, put out this product and have it succeed?
So I started out with the plantain chips and accidentally started a cafe and focused on just doing everything from scratch, knowing exactly what goes into the food. Having worked in craft foods, I know exactly what shouldn't be in those ingredients in a product. And there's a lot of contamination. There's a lot of products that are not natural can cause harm for you health-wise in the long term. So I wanted to change that, and having gone through health conditions, health issues, just from eating processed foods made me think that there has to be a better way we cook and eat. So I was doing a lot of catering, just 100% plant-based, healthier catering, but COVID put an end to a lot of those things. So I pivoted, and thanks to FI, came up with this idea what is lacking is a non-soy based tempeh in the market. There are a few people who are making the product right now, but they're not in any, major chains. So you can't just walk into a store and buy a soy-free tempeh.
Right. And audio. So with your tempeh, and now that you've developed it, you've started testing it, correct?
Yes, we did sampling at the market. So we got about 5 weeks of sampling with different finished products. So we make different dishes with the tempeh, with different types of grains, with different types of beans. And we actually did a very soft launch at the market. So we have tiny bit of sales.
But that's good. And it's also good to get to know who your customers are. Are you starting to discover your customer segmentation or something? Who's your buyer? Who do you think you're selling to?
So initially, when we came up with the product and said we're going to make soy-free, based on our survey, we found that about 13% of the people had soy allergies, but most of them did not. And what actually matters is the taste. So as long as you can give them a product that is tasteful, they don't care.
So it's good for them and it tastes good.
Yes. I think that is a preconceived notion that, hey, all plant-based foods can be bland, or I'm eating salads and there's not a whole lot of things that's in there. So I'm trying to change people's perspectives.
No, it sounds like you're off to a great start.
Thank you.
Well, Gita, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Please also give Ramesh a huge hug, because I know. Come on, Ramesh. Come on. There he is. And because
I'm very shy, James.
It's a combo effort. So no, but you guys have really done fantastically. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. And then I'm going to ask Martine to come in, because here we are. We're at the end of our program.
Thanks, James.
There he is.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Those are some cool founders. Those are some great founders. Thank you all for joining us.
I know,
one more round in the chat, everybody, for James Phelan, our lead over here in Houston. We're honored to have you, and we can't do it without you.
Oh, we can't do it without you, Martine.
Hey, we're trying sometimes. Well, I'll let you get back over into the networking space, because we're about to wrap up, but you don't have to go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You do not have to go anywhere. So stick around. In closing, I want to thank you all again for joining the FI Texas Founder Showcase to wrap up a very interesting year. Let's just leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. But please, a couple more updates. We still got events going on for the rest of 2020. December 1st, Tuesday, 4 o'clock. We'll be broadcasting on many channels, but the next event is the Texas Founder Hot Seat. It's one of our best events that we do every year. And we do it a lot, too. So if you have an idea and you're here right now and thinking about getting some feedback before you take the leap with FI next year in 2021, this is a good chance to do it. So more information will come there. And then also, I would be remiss if I did not say applications are open for the upcoming 2021 early spring Dallas, Houston, and Austin chapters. Dallas and Houston will be kicking off sometime February, March, and then Austin will be coming after South by Southwest in late April. So besides from me, thank you to everybody here on the team. We're going to shift back over in the networking and the celebration, y'all. So if you're still unsure if you should go crack open that beer, open up that bottle of wine, it's probably time to do it. Let's turn into a happy hour, y'all. And I'll join there with you all too. So again, from my name is Martinez with the Founder Institute here in Texas. Thank you all for being here. And we wish you all health, safety, and wellness heading into the rest of this year. We know it's been tough. We'll be able to be together again. And I can't wait when that happens, because when we do, it's going to be a fun, fun time. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time.
Peace, everybody.